Hello and welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general reading for whoever that lands on this. Okay? Anything that you need to know about the channel, you can find in the description box, such as how to book a personal reading, how to find out about my other subscriptions that I offer, and all that other good stuff. Again, down in the description box down below. I think this is the first live that I'm doing for this channel. Now, if you're a Virgo, I also have a Virgo channel, and I also have a speakers channel. Now, the difference between my readings and other people's readings are I always tend to start off looking at the traumas, the healing, the karmic wounds, the spiritual blocks, the stagnant energy that is affecting your situation. And the reason why is because I pride myself on being a healer. That's why the channel is called Psychic Soul Healer. And so we look at those things because we can integrate spiritual wounds into spiritual gifts. And that means we get to see a different version of our situation when we do something different. But first we have to create awareness. And that's why we look at the wounds first. Okay, now know that roles are sometimes interchangeable because energy is fluid. So you may have to interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Also know that energy could come out where it's past, present, or future because again, energy is fluid. But what I see is that if there's information that comes up from your past, it's probably because there's something in your past that you need to revisit that would help you in your present moment or future. So, again, never discard the energy, never discard the message. Okay. Now, again, this is going to be a general message for whoever that lands on it because I just decided to jump on and do a live tonight. No rhyme, no reason, just wanted to jump on. Okay. First card out is aggressive. I feel like not that you're being aggressive or that you're attached to a person that is acting aggressive towards you. I feel like the situation between you and that person is like the energy is almost like aggressive is pushy. This isn't pushy, but there's a sense of wanting to be aggressive but holding back. There's a sense of I feel like you and your person are not speaking right now, and there's a lot of agitation between you and your person. That's what I'm feeling, and it's again invincibility. I never read my cards upside down, so but even though that there's a lot of tension and animosity that there's a sense that this relationship will never end, this situation that I'm in will never end. Now I don't know if this is again because now intuitively I'm getting an energy that it's either you and your person have this energy towards each other, or you're connected to someone that's connected to someone else that has this energy, which is really unhealthy energy, by the way, because it's a sense of dominance and a sense of control. There's a sense of fear. There's also a sense of one person wanting the relationship a lot and the other person not really wanting the relationship for maybe monetarily things or things outside. Maybe again they have a child or money or something, but not for the love of that person. And that's what the karmic cord is, that there's actually a karmic cord that I'm feeling. Now again, it could be either you and this person, it could be again a person that's connected to your person. I don't know yet. And it's like narrow-minded. I kind of feel like, to be honest with you, is someone that's connected to your person. And the reason why is your person is so afraid to leave. They're very narrow-minded about what they believe they can have, what they believe that you possibly feel about them. What I feel like they're connected to someone that's really toxic. That's the energy there. And and why I say that is because over time, when you live with someone that continues to gaslight you or continues to tell you that you don't think the right way, you don't do the right way because they're obviously your person doesn't really have a strong heart connection to them. It looks like, again, there is a connection there, but not of love. And because there isn't, the person that they're connected to is resentful, and again almost making it like there's something wrong with your person because that they don't, which is distorting your person's perception about who they are, what they can have. It's again spirit descending, but they are in the process of like awakening to the fact that that this is off. And the reason why I'm feeling that is because there's a feeling, there's an energetic feeling, and the energetic feeling is that they never feel like they're able to go out and live their own life. That's number one, like so almost like someone's watching them all the time. And also because the person's continually making them feel bad. So it's again, this person is having awareness now of almost like what's going on, where I feel like for a long time, the person that was connected to them had a lot of control over them. So there's something in them. And I think sometimes when we're really uncomfortable in a situation, we get to a place where we awaken. We almost, because we get led into a dark night of the soul. So that's this energy here. And the reason why is because someone doesn't want to let go of something that is dead. And the other person feels guilty, but they're actually coming out of it. Because again, self-observation, and that's what I had said. The person is like looking and feeling, looking at themselves, seeing that they're not really happy. And also it's really how they feel. It's like I said, I'm getting a feeling like where they feel guilty all the time, but they realizing that they really shouldn't feel guilty because a person wants to tell them how to think. It's almost like the person that they're connected to has a sense that they own your person, which happens when a relationship has died, and also when there's been betrayal in a relationship. So your person may be holding on to their past person out of guilt. I'm just going to pull one more from this deck to just see merciless forgiveness. Yeah, it's like there's a sense where your person, again, guilt is that's why I love my job. It's because your person feels guilty because they don't love this person pretty much. And that's what happens when a relationship tends to go really fast, and then a child comes, and the person really didn't want to be settled down, but then was guilted into marrying the person. And then they have some good times because they created a family and but the person never really loved them. And that's the energy there. But they feel guilted almost, and it's almost like the person that's connected to them will not forgive them purposely to kind of keep them locked in there, keep them chained. And that's the karmic cord. The karmic cord is shame and guilt, and that is what your person is reliving within their connection now. Where do you stand in all of it is what we want to know, because it's like, why is this energy overpowering your reading, Virgo, unless this is you? But I'm not really feeling like it's you. I feel like that it's your person. And I feel like whenever there's the most dominant energy is always the energy that's going to come out. Now, if anyone happens to be on, please, like, feel free to ask me any questions or whatever. I'm going to pull from past life cards right now. I want to see orphan. So again, past life, you could have been an orphan. Your person could have been an orphan. And the reason why is, again, there's a sense of abandonment. We need to ask, what is the karmic connection? And the reason why is because you don't want to continue to relive undesirable life experiences. You definitely don't. Where you, and an undesirable life experience is abandonment, or again, feeling shamed or victimized, or whatever the karmic theme is. But here it's abandonment. And it's abandonment mainly, not mainly from your person, but that's again keeping you, that your person, linked to them. Again, leaving for travel. So it's again saying that people in past lives came and went, and again maybe felt more like an orphan, and maybe, or again had a parent die because they traveled. Remember, if it was biblical years and a person needed to travel to like Jerusalem from like Rome, or from, wherever, it didn't take them a day. It took them like years to get there, a lot of time. And so, if you were married to this person, they didn't come back. And so there's a sense of, again, abandonment. But what this also means is that you might stay. If you're connected to them, you have to say, well, why am I staying with this person? And or not staying, but kind of waiting for this person to get done with their situation. And the reason is, or what is my connection to them? It's like, again, you were married to them in a past life and they never came back. So you were used to them being away for long periods of time. And so, even though it's happening in this life, because your person is clearly not finished with a situation, it's like that's what it's like. You were an orphan. And so, and I feel like the person that they were connected to was an orphan. Not uncommon back in the day for people to be orphans because parents died at a young age. They died of the flu, they died of war, they died of starvation, they died of diseases. So it's again like a lot of people have incarnated from past lives with the fear of abandonment, mainly because again in past lives parents died. So let's see again what the trauma, how it plays out within your relationship with them. So again, anxiety. They have a lot of anxiety around you, possibly because they admire you. There's a sense when I tap in that they have a they put you a little bit on a pedestal, possibly because who they're with. Remember, everything's perspective. And so, again, if a person is not forming a relationship with you, too, they're perceiving you from far away. So, their perception of you is, again, that you're pure, that you're perfect, and it creates a lot of anxiety for them. And that's because they're insecure. And they're insecure because they've been in a connection with somebody that's toxic, aloof. And so there's also a sense that they act aloof, like they don't care, and possibly because they are perceiving that you don't care. But I feel like it's not so much that you don't care, but a lot of times when people are insecure, they expect you to over extend yourself, to overgive, to kind of like abandon your emotional needs to make sure that their emotional needs are good. So this shows me again that your person is codependent, and that's why they're kind of also stuck in this toxic relationship. It's not just that one person. Your one person, yes, is dominant, makes them feel guilty, has gaslighted them, has confused them, but your person is codependent. And they're codependent because they are not really able to express themselves emotionally, and they're insecure about themselves. So that's why they don't show emotion. Not getting involved, protecting their heart, like I don't care. But really, they do care. They're not secure, But again, their ego will not allow them to show that vulnerability to you. Again, constraint, which is what I was just saying. They constrain themselves. And it's like, again, giving up their power. Too many rules. They want to take back their power. And I think they need to take back their power. They're constrained, and they're not just constrained by somebody else, but they're constrained in the fact that they emotionally cannot express to you how they feel or be honest about their situation, because their situation doesn't look good. It looks like, that they're not a grown up. Like, I'm feeling pagey energy. If I was to pull a tarot card, I'd pull a page. Like, that's what it feels like a person that is letting someone else dominate their life. Dramatic, over the top behavior, creating drama for control. Yeah, like, it's so this person is all about drama. I think that they're addicted to drama, which happens a lot of times in codependent relationships, right? That there's gaslighting, there's manipulation, it's control, it's guilt, it's betrayal, it's victimization, it's shame, it's all these karmic lessons. So this person is actually with a karmic mate that probably at one time felt like a soulmate, because soulmates, a lot of times, if there is an attraction and there is a chemistry, but there's no balance in the relationship, and there's no balance because either party didn't form a identity. And we know that still, and we know that this why, because someone is controlling someone else, so that's part of their identity. If you're controlling someone, you don't have time to create yourself, to find yourself. And the other person that's afraid to leave but is miserable and doesn't want to be with the person is still dependent on that person. So it's, again, it's a codependent relationship. And you might say, well, why? Maybe they have children, maybe they have other things. It's, again, we don't know, but there is a karmic connection. And it's, again, would look like a trauma bond. And the trauma bond is when you grow up in an environment where you get taught, shame, victimization, betrayal. It's, again, the parent does this a lot of times because, again, they pass down trauma. We pass down, in the Bible, it says 700 generations, we inherit trauma. So I don't know whether that's true or not. All I know is that if you're in an environment, you will be conditioned to form the same behaviorisms and habits. So these two people that your person is attached to are playing out this trauma bond that is, again, they inherited from past life. That's what the energy is. So when we see codependence, when we see trauma bond, we see drama. Why? Because there's a runner and a chaser. People will say, oh, soulmate twin flame. That is not soulmate twin flame. And the reason why is soulmate twin flame is more about two parties that, yes, are very sexually attracted to each other. There's a lot of chemistry, yes, and it's triggering, but there is so much unconditional love that they're usually called to create something together, to do something together. They build something together. They transmute their wounds through the creative process. This is not that. This is two people that are codependent on each other and almost like addicted to the drama. And by the way, that can happen almost like a drug addiction, because the brain releases dopamine, serotonin, like drugs. Okay, same exact thing. Or like if you were going to go buy a new outfit and that was how you got your rocks off, whatever it was that inspires you. So that's what is toxic about the relationship that your person is with, because it's almost like a drug addiction. They'd have to cut it. So let's see what the hidden truths are, because that now I always say it's the most dominant energy that is going to come out within your reading. That's what comes out. So if you say, this isn't me at all, why is it that someone else's reading is dominating my reading? Well, you may be tapped in and wanting to know about what your person is up to. You may want to know, and you're not really doing anything. Maybe you're working, maybe you're just hanging out with friends, maybe your life is great. You're, but this energy is again negative energy that's going to overpower your reading. So they're going to overpower their energy. That person's energy is going to overpower your reading. Okay, I couldn't let you get close to me. Of course not, because this is a shit show. I mean, you would call it out. You would call it out. No one in their right mind would want this circus act. I will wait for you for a sign from you. Yeah, this person is very insecure. I feel like they want to come back. They want to talk to you, but it's again, I, their ego. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like their ego. And why? Because they've been dealing with this type of person, so they have a big ego. Again, they're living in survival mode. Anyone that has lived in survival mode and has not healed their traumas by integrating them and then winds up in one codependent relationship after another that looks like that, well, let me tell you, they're not going to have the confidence to come in the way that you would want. I just want you to know that, whoever's this reading resonates with, just because it doesn't mean that they don't love. Everyone loves at their level of consciousness. Only God loves perfect. And we have to realize that. Because this person is like waiting for a sign, and I feel like they've done nothing to really fix this. And I also feel like they're attached to somebody else, and you kind of know that. And I am not available. So it's again, I do feel like they've kind of made a decision here because they're not. But let's see what the soulmate twin flame cards say. I don't know if I can live up to your image of me. I'm afraid that I won't be good enough for you. And this is what I kept saying. So a lot of times we would say to ourselves, right? Like, why I really like this person and we have this chemistry here. I'm too busy taking it all into even question, right? It's okay because it's again when you need to hear the message, Lynn, that's what it is. It's like, when the student is ready to teach your pure spirit always tells us, and there may be pieces of it, but what's healing here, because this is a healing channel, is to understand that this person doesn't think that they can live up to your standards. Because again, who they've been attached to, how they've been living. And so soulmate twin flames come into person's life again to teach, to heal, and to pull out all this shit that a person has. And when I say shit, I'm talking about the shadows, the subconscious traumas, again, which are, by the way, are so psychological and emotional. Again, held in the body as stress. It's what our vibration resonates with. Okay, so but the problem is here is, and that's why like goes to like. So your person was vibrating at this crazy person's vibrational resonancy because they didn't have confidence. When a person doesn't have confidence, it's again, we can't expect them to be able to come forward and to give us what we want. And that's the issue. And that's really what it is, that this person wants to, like, has feelings. It's again, and it shows it. That's why they're showing up in your reading. However, they again are not secure in themselves. I'm trying to bury my love for you because I can't be with you right now. I've ruined our relationship. And I feel like, again, because this person knows that, again, that they didn't come forward, they didn't give you because they've been connected to this person. And I feel like they played a lot of games thinking that it was okay to come in and out of life. It's again, because on some level, like I said, came in from a past life, right? And they're used to being an orphan. And maybe again, on some level, you might say, well, why in this life Well, you might not be an orphan in this life, but emotionally, maybe you felt as if you didn't get the emotional support that you needed growing up. And so it felt comfortable to you. It's again, sometimes we don't know. We know after the fact. And so, like you said, the person got comfortable coming in and out of your life and really wasn't giving you enough. And there were signs also because the person, like I said, could only go so far. But what the problem is like I said, is a bigger problem at hand. And that's this codependent, narcissistic relationship where it's toxic. And why I say that is because the person that your person is attached to is not going to let them go that easy. So any person that your person goes to, they can expect to have drama from the person that they're connected to because they're not finishing it properly. They're not closing it out because on some level they're being guilted and manipulated, but then also is codependent and is addicted to that toxic relationship. And a lot of times people feel that way. A lot of times people feel that, oh, some level he knows he ruined our relationship 2 times. That was, yeah, like, and that's the thing. It's like people know that, but they don't want to do that a lot of times. A lot of times, um, we say, okay, well, if you love me, why would you do that? So it's again, it's because at the time they have because they have an intimacy problem, and intimacy is trust, but it's also like when a person gets really, really, really close. And because again, they have fear of abandonment. And we had talked about it, like past life came in with that. However, they're still attached to like this disgusting energy that takes precedence over everybody. And that's what I see. It's like you don't want it, and so you got a person that only cares about their own needs. Everybody's only caring about their own needs. And then the poor person that comes into the mix winds up getting screwed because the monster that they're attached to isn't really going to let them go. And then they're like, well, I don't really love this person, so I have to go elsewhere to get that. And I do form connections, but I can only take it so far because this person holds precedence, because that's what I feel like I should do. Which makes me pissed off, by the way. Me reading this making me mad. Okay, my emotions are like a roller coaster now. I don't know what I want, but I'm trying to find out. Yeah, of course, because this person, again, that they're attached to, it's not supposed to be. It's again, no one's supposed to live like this, like a crazy person. And so this is unfortunately how people learn. This is how people learn, and this is how men learn a lot of times. I don't want to just stereotype it to men, but I've noticed a lot in doing readings for people. A lot of times, it's like they date a lot of people at one time, and then they don't think that they form attachments, and then they think that they can control love because now they're with somebody that has an opinion, that wants, that has needs, that's not all just about the attraction and the fun. And then they think, well, screw you, I don't want to do that, I'll replace you. And now this person has like is going through it. But I have to be honest with you, the only way a man really, or anybody, not just a man, anybody really knows that they love somebody is when they surrender their ego, when they have to come back with their tail between their legs and say, I'm sorry. Now, it can take a year, it can take 2 years, especially when you're doing a reading, because spirit has no time. And what looks like is right now when we do a reading, a lot of times it also unfolds a few weeks down the line. If you're in a karmic relationship, it'll also expect that things happen to loop, meaning I feel like I just went through this situation. And the reason why is because, again, patterns, behaviors, This again, so I feel, Lynn, for your particular situation, every time that your person got close to you, really close, they screwed up. They got in their own way. And that's a psychological reversal. And that's where a person, again, wants love, but they do something to sabotage themselves due to fear. And so the person needs healing. So let's see. This was just a fling. I think that, again, they thought that it was just a fling. A lot of times when we get into, you know, a relationship in the beginning, like, and we're just attracted to a person and we haven't given it the time, we think that it's just going to be a fling, especially if we have a hard time forming intimate relationships, those real bonded, trusting relationships, then we're going to treat it as just a fling. I think this person treated it like just a fling and then realized, oh shit, it's not just a fling. I actually have feelings, because their emotions wouldn't be all over the place. Okay, I am so sorry. So again, their emotions are all over the place. And this is also like retrograde. I mean, we're coming out of it, but I was always told that retrograde starts like a few weeks before and tends to extend to a few weeks after. So it's not uncommon that, you know, the person's energy is all over the place, because when we have traumas and it's retrograde, those traumas are going to rear their ugly head. We're going to be triggered more. And so I feel like this person's trying to bury how they feel because they're used to being able to suppress their emotions. Well, they're going to act like a crazy person. It's going to come out in a different way unless they're doing drugs or drinking too much or doing something to suppress their emotions. This person's going to be very emotional and moody, which is what I feel like. Long distance, I feel like this person feels like you're far away. Whether you are far away or not, there is a sense of far away. And I think because emotionally you have you know, you've kind of moved away. My heart is racing a bit. Suppose that's another validation I'm taking in, like drinking water. It's my husband. We're talking about, we're separated 3 years. Yeah, like I'm telling you, I think that it's very normal. And like when there's, you know, when we separate from like a relationship, that there is so many different feelings. And you got together with your person that like a long time ago, like young. And a lot of times we don't grow together. There's still love, but when I say grow together, like we're not seeing eye to eye, like where, and so I feel like your husband was very like rigid, to be honest with you, didn't want to see things. And now it's again, it's almost like ice being out in the sun. It begins to melt. And it begins to melt because, again, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Yeah, that's the energy there. That it was so rigid in this story, anyway, was so rigid, didn't want to see, but again, mainly because of how they grew up. And again, the traumas that they inherited. And almost like they ruined good relationships. That's again silent treatment, and that's again, I feel like that was like one of the big things, which made you feel as if again, not just you but this person, again, because was collective, that again was not just and I also feel like this just a fling. I feel like with these people that have the intimacy issue, they tend to compartmentalize. Sex is just a need, it's just a physical act. There is no emotional thing. It might be fantasy, but it's passion, it's lust, but it's not love. So they compartmentalize. And so they don't really understand. And so there's also silent treatment, which is how the person deals with you. Yeah, it's the way that they deal with you, because it's again, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to discriminate myself one way or the other. And the fact that I'm not going to say anything, I'm going to watch you go ballistically crazy and then make it look like you're the crazy one. Because it's, again, I'm not going to throw myself underneath the bus. We're going to look at how you react. Because I'm not going to say anything to justify. And that's how that normally goes. And there's a part of gaslighting. Will you give me a second chance? I feel like it wouldn't be uncommon for this person to come back eventually or think it. Or maybe, again, that person just wants to know to feed their ego. Right, like I said, or maybe to fill their ego. It's not uncommon. Because after a certain amount of time when there's been separation, remember in the beginning, there's a lot of emotions. So people tend to act from an emotional standpoint. And that's not real. That's why, again, when you saw the emotions change in this reading, it's like, I'm mad, I'm not mad. It's like it was very codependent. There was a lot of guilt. There's a lot of different things, again, that are pulling out karmic stuff. And karmic stuff is, again, our wounds, our personal stuff. So it's, again, when you've been through that much with a person, it's not uncommon after, again, you've been separated for a little while, for the ice to melt, to thaw out. You begin to look at your relationship from another side. I think for this, I'm not really feeling like a second chance. I'm not going to lie. I feel like the person has thought it, because there's also a sense of comfortability in knowing that the connection is there, whether they want it or not. And that's, again, because the person's insecure. Like, can I still have you? If all else fails, I'll go back to you. It's like that it'll work out. It was more what I'm really feeling, to be honest with you. I don't feel like it's a big love. I'm ashamed of how I treated you. And that's, again, guilt, because the person wasn't balanced. So they could go back and forth. Now, whether they would admit they wanted a second chance with you is something altogether different. They could say, I want it, but I don't really want it. And I want to see what other are their feelings. Did I use this deck? Yes, I did. Let me use this deck. Let me use this deck. Okay, I was pretending to be someone else. So it's, again, I do think that a lot of times when you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship where it happens so fast, you don't know who you are. And you do try to perceive that you're someone else, which is part of the reason why things don't work out. So, again, if the foundation is bad, you are always on my mind. And I don't know whether that's positive or negative, to be honest with you. Okay, right, like comfortable and caring for it. Right, that's what I was saying about the codependence that I saw here. I saw codependence here, and again, and so it wouldn't be uncommon that if you and your husband were codependent, that they would always be like, I think that maybe I can get back together. Or I think that, like, or I wonder whether we could, because there's that comfortability, and that says a lot. It's like, it's not, maybe not this passionate love, and there probably a lot isn't, because there's a lot of fighting that goes on when somebody's rigid and doesn't want to compromise and doesn't want to change their behavior. So I think that, but being that there's a comfortability there, it's almost like, well, this is just the way that we are, but it's not a comfortable way. And I'm not saying that that's the way that you are, that maybe that this is a way that he is. And that's like, and like, it's acceptable. This is as close to love as I can get. And that's usually because a person feels like they can't be loved. And that's, again, happens from childhood. It's like, I still have growing to do. So the person knows that they still have mature, and that's need to mature. And that's, again, living up to your standard. 30 years, no fighting. will be an improvement in communication. Oh, well, it's again detachment then. Still not able to communicate, and that would make you like angry, but nevertheless, in this story, it's again, I feel like there was a lot of animosity, and it's again, and maybe that's not towards you, Lynn. Maybe that's towards, like, again, a third party, because if your husband still is treating you as if you're codependent, right? That like there's love but not in love, and depend on each other in a way but don't get along, then they're also getting then they're getting their needs met from someone else. And if they're detachment, they would pretend to be somebody else because they're never really 100% going to give anyone else what they gave you. And that is this energy, because maybe no one can get as close. Like, you think that you didn't get close, but this is as close as the person's going to get. And being that this didn't work out, they again I'm feeling in this story anyway that they're not going to give anyone 100% a chance, because I was reading for, like, and I felt clearly that this was a third party situation. And so I was reading, and the other person was not really getting anything because, again, orphan, coming to and from. And but again, and the reason why was there was this whole underlying story, and the whole underlying story was that there was unfinished business, and you'd be like, no, it's finished. But again, when a person is detached, in their mind, in their heart, again, they may still be living out the story, meaning they might live a lot from a fantasy perspective, which isn't 100% real. And when I say that, like, lying to themselves, making it look like they're still feeling like they're still in some sort of a committed relationship. And that's in order to not have to get close to anyone else, to feel safe. Again, the abandonment issue, which is why codependent happens. I feel empty without you. So again, wouldn't be uncommon. It's again because when there is a good relationship and it just doesn't work out, it's like the person tries to find it with somebody else. But I don't believe that they can, because the problem lies within them. They're looking for something that they need to have. So this person gave you the time. They didn't really give anyone else that time. And that's why I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? When a person gives you the time, then doesn't give somebody else that, it's like they're never, every other person is going to feel like you give to this person, to you, because the person says, well, I was married, and you're still friends with them, but this person is not able to give anyone else, so it's only going to be assumed that the problem is you, when the problem really isn't you. The problem is this person, and the problem is this person because they can't give the way that a normal person can give. And I don't want to say like a normal person, but without, they can't give the way a person that hasn't suffered trauma has. Again, as someone that hasn't been abandoned and rejected on some level. So there is pain from this person's childhood. And that's why we look at the soul wounds first. We look at the soul wounds, because otherwise, this person would seem like they were shady, that they were playing a lot of games, that they were intentionally trying to hurt you, that they again were, and that's not this at all. This is a person that, it's again, sometimes in these type of relationships, it's as soon as it becomes real, a real relationship, it's difficult for the person to like to get close. It's like the clarity and validation after 3.5 years is like, well, I'm glad. That's why, we do these readings, because it's again, and it's not, look, you're the only person on. So it's not, this was your reading. You know what I mean? You were meant to hear this reading. And the reason why is because the person does care. They're just not, and there is love there. It's just we all love from our level of consciousness. And they just, until they heal that, which who knows whether he um, will be there, but the person feels that, and I need time. And I feel like this is what this person will always think. My phone, and there you were. See, it's like I think that it's a good, it's a good reading, because even though it's maybe not where you wind up with the person, but it's one where you realize that it's something that you guys will be in each other's lives forever, because there really is a bond, there really is a connection, and that every single other person that comes into their life, it's like, I hate to say it, but it's almost like like you're here for a little bit of time and then off, and you're like still kind of their person is in their mind. And though this isn't what you would want, I feel like this is what this person is just capable of due to their trauma. Trauma at a young age, when a child is victimized or betrayed, what winds up happening is they have form dissociation disorder and detachment disorder. So it's like there's trauma that they're not even aware of it anymore. So thank you so much. Giving thanks to our guys, and thank you so much. And I am going to like wrap this up. But before I do, maybe I just see whether the universe has any secret messages for you. Again, just for kicks. Sometimes, again, universal questions come out. Sometimes secret love messages come out. But we want to see. I'm just going to pull one, and it says romance, Cupid's arrow strikes. So, Lynn, if you're not, again, if this person isn't going to come back, I feel like a new romance is going to come into your life, which again, I think would need to happen anyway, because things would either need to evolve or die or be put in their right perception, meaning everything needs to be put in its place. So I just wanted to put that out there to you. You can expect romance. I don't know how that would play out. And love is not always about accepting just for the sake of it. A great relationship is one that both supports and challenges. And I kind of feel like you do have that with your husband, ex-husband. So understand, soul relationships could take a lifetime to unfold and work out. But I feel like a new romance is coming, but you're learning balance. It's again, and balance is when we can surrender. So thank you. I do thank you, Lynn, so much. And I thank everyone else that tunes in and watches this live stream. And I will be on again tomorrow night. I'm going to try and do live streams every night. I am new to the channel. I am growing the channel. So I love you all. Mwah. And thank you, Lynn, so much for being on. And good night, guys.